So I actually have a fourth motivation, which I started off with. I wanted to start a company. I was a Mayfield Fellow and just really enjoyed entrepreneurship and thought it would be fun. And so I wanted to start a company, and that was goal number one. Then I went off and tried to figure out what that was. And goal number two became starting a company with Clara, who had been a good friend of mine for 5 or 10 years at that point. And then the rest sort of solved itself.
Yeah, similar to Steve, the reason I came to Stanford in the first place was because when I was in high school, I was 18 years old, I was given this copy of Business Week that talked about Silicon Valley. And my eyes lit up, and I felt like, what a wonderful and magical place where anyone with a good idea, with a little bit of luck and a lot of hard work, can change the world. And so I've always wanted to start a company, and what caused us to really look at social media was seeing all the changes that companies like Facebook and Twitter have caused us to have in our daily lives, and we felt like there was a huge opportunity to bring those same transformations into the business realm.
So I definitely agree with the points that Clara and Steve made. I guess one I would add is, in my view, a startup is really one of the best possible environments in the world to learn a ton of information, a ton of new experiences, mostly because you're thrown into a situation where you either have to learn how to do it or you're not going to be successful. And I really had the ambition to try to learn as much as I could. I had just left a startup where I had worked for about 3 years that was doing really well, but I was ready to kind of be in a position where I was a bit more uncomfortable, a bit more chaotic, and also a bit more challenged. And so that's why I left Zazzle, was the company I had been at previously, to start the new company. And the first thing, I think, again, what Steve mentioned was, who am I going to work with? And the funny anecdote I mentioned for Stanford students was my co-founder, actually, I met in iHum freshman year. So for all the techies in the room, there's actually a benefit to iHum. You might even meet your co-founder there.
For reference, I also met Jeff in iHum.
iHum is a humanities class, right? It's a requirement for all the engineering students to take a humanities class. But it starts with people. Wayne and I were really the foundation. He had been at Google for 3 years, and then from there we started focusing on a couple of different product areas that we were excited about.